Have you ever wondered why some women remember a man for years, even when he was not the richest, the most handsome, or the most successful man they ever met? The answer is rarely what people think. It is not because of what he bought her. It is not because of what he promised her. It is because of how safe she felt when she was with him. Most people spend their lives searching for excitement, but a mature woman who has lived through disappointment, heartbreak, and lessons she never asked for is searching for something far more valuable. She is searching for peace. She is searching for a place where she can finally put down the emotional weight she has been carrying for years. I once heard a story about a woman who seemed to have everything together. She smiled in public. She handled every responsibility without complaint. She was the person everyone depended on. Friends admired her strength. Family admired her resilience. Yet behind closed doors, she was exhausted, not physically emotionally exhausted. She had spent so much of her life being strong that she had forgotten what it felt like to simply be held by someone who expected nothing from her. Then one evening, she met a man who was different. He did not try to impress her with endless stories about himself. He did not compete for attention. He did not rush intimacy. Instead, he listened. When she spoke, he paid attention to the words behind her words. When she laughed, he noticed the sadness hidden beneath it. And one night, during a conversation about a difficult chapter of her life, he simply reached out and placed his hand gently over hers. It was not dramatic. It was not flashy. Yet something inside her shifted, because for the first time in a very long time she felt safe. That is the touch most men completely misunderstand. They think attraction begins with excitement. They think love begins with passion. But often the deepest attraction begins the moment a woman feels emotionally secure. It was born. Begins when she realizes she does not have to pretend anymore. She does not have to perform. She does not have to prove her worth. She can simply be herself. There is something incredibly powerful about a man who creates that feeling. Not because he is perfect, not because he has all the answers, but because his presence feels steady, predictable, trustworthy. In a world full of uncertainty, confidence is not loud. Confidence is consistency. Confidence is showing up when you say you will. Confidence is making a woman feel that your affection is not conditional upon her being perfect. And the truth is, mature women notice this more than anyone. They have already met charming men. They have already met exciting men. They have already met men who knew exactly what to say. What they remember are the men who made them feel emotionally safe. Because safety is what allows attachment to grow. Safety is what transforms attraction into trust. Safety is what gives love a foundation strong enough to survive difficult seasons. When a woman feels safe, she reveals parts of herself that nobody else gets to see. Her fears, her dreams, her insecurities, her scars. The parts she hides from the rest of the world slowly come into the light. And every time she shares one of those hidden pieces and is met with understanding instead of judgment, her heart moves a little closer. This is where real connection is born. Not in perfect moments, not in grand romantic gestures, but in the quiet moments where two people feel accepted exactly as they are. The irony is that many men spend years trying to become more attractive, while overlooking the one quality that creates the deepest attraction of all. The ability to make a woman feel emotionally secure. Because beneath confidence, beneath chemistry, beneath desire, there is a deeper human need. The need to feel safe enough to love and be loved. And when a mature woman discovers that feeling in a man, she does not easily forget it. Long after the excitement fades, long after the conversations end, long after the years pass, she remembers the rare person who made her feel that she could finally stop fighting the world for a moment and simply rest her heart. Because the most irresistible touch is not the one that reaches her body. It is the one that reaches her soul and quietly whispers, "You are safe here." What if the greatest gift you could give a woman was not your strength, your success, or even your love, but something far rarer? What if it was your attention? Not the distracted attention people offer while checking their phones. Not the temporary attention given out of obligation. But the kind of attention that makes another human being feel truly seen. Most people will go through life surrounded by others yet still feel invisible. They will smile while hiding pain. They will carry dreams nobody asks about. They will fight battles nobody notices. And nowhere is this more true than in the heart of a mature woman. By the time she reaches this stage of life, she has learned how to survive disappointment. She has learned how to recover from heartbreak. She has learned how to keep moving even when nobody stops to ask how she is really doing. The world often celebrates what she accomplishes, but rarely pauses to understand who she has become. That is why the second touch is so powerful. It is the touch that makes her feel truly seen. I remember hearing a story about a woman who seemed to have everything under control. She was admired by her friends, respected by her coworkers, loved by her family. She was the one everyone called when they needed help. Yet deep inside, she felt a loneliness she could never fully explain. Not because she lacked people around her, because nobody seemed to notice her beyond the roles she played. She was a mother, a professional, a caretaker, a problem solver. But she rarely felt seen as a woman with hopes, fears, desires, and emotions of her own. Then she met a man who was different. He did not rush to impress her. He did not dominate every conversation. He did something surprisingly simple. He listened, really listened. When she talked about her day, he paid attention. When she shared a memory, he remembered it. When she laughed, he noticed what made her eyes light up. One evening, as she spoke about a dream she had quietly abandoned years earlier, he reached for her hand and gently held it while she talked. He did not interrupt. He did not offer advice. He simply stayed present. Later, she admitted something that surprised even her. That small moment affected her more deeply than any grand romantic gesture she had experienced in years. Why? Because for the first time in a very long time, she felt visible. She felt understood. She felt like someone had finally looked beyond her responsibilities and seen the person hidden underneath them. That is a feeling people never forget. The truth about attraction is that it is rarely about perfection. It is rarely about appearance. Real attraction grows when someone makes us feel valued, when someone notices the details others overlook, when someone remembers the stories we thought nobody cared enough to hear. Mature women especially understand this. They have experienced relationships where they felt ignored even while sitting beside someone. They have experienced conversations where they spoke but never felt heard. They have experienced the heartbreak of giving their heart to someone who only understood a small fraction of who they truly were. That kind of heartbreak changes a person. It teaches them to protect themselves. It teaches them to hide certain parts of their heart. Yet when a confident and emotionally present man comes along, something remarkable begins to happen. Those walls slowly lower, not because he forces them down, because he creates an environment where they no longer feel necessary. Confidence is not always found in bold words. Sometimes confidence is found in patience, in curiosity, in caring enough to understand someone beyond the surface. When a woman feels genuinely seen, she begins to relax into her authentic self. She laughs more freely. She shares more openly. She trusts more deeply. And trust is the foundation of every lasting emotional attachment. Many men spend years trying to figure out what creates deep connection, while overlooking one of the most powerful truths about human nature. People fall in love with those who make them feel important. Not important because of status or achievement. Important because their thoughts matter. Their feelings matter. Their existence matters. A mature woman does not need someone to rescue her. She has already rescued herself many times. What she longs for is someone who notices her without requiring her to ask for attention. Someone who values her presence without needing her to earn it. Someone who looks into her eyes and makes her feel that who she is matters just as much as what she does. That is why being truly seen is one of the deepest forms of intimacy. It reaches places compliments never can. It touches wounds created by years of feeling overlooked. It restores a sense of worth that life sometimes tries to take away. And when a woman experiences that kind of connection, it does not simply create attraction. It creates emotional gravity. It pulls her heart closer because she finally feels understood. In a world where so many people are desperate to be noticed, the person who makes someone feel truly seen becomes unforgettable. Because long after beauty changes, long after circumstances shift, and long after ordinary memories fade, a woman will always remember the rare soul who looked past everything she did and saw everything she was. What if the very thing most people chase in relationships is the exact thing that quietly destroys them? It sounds impossible at first, but think about it. How many people have mistaken desperation for love? How many have confused constant pursuit with genuine connection? How many have given away their entire sense of self trying to keep someone from leaving? The truth is that one of the most attractive qualities a mature woman can feel from a man is not intensity. It is quiet confidence, not arrogance, not dominance, not the need to prove himself, but the kind of confidence that comes from knowing his worth whether he is chosen or not. Years ago, I heard a story about a man who fell deeply in love with a woman. He thought the secret to winning her heart was to be available every second of every day. He answered every message immediately. He rearranged his entire schedule around her needs. He constantly searched for reassurance that she cared about him as much as he cared about her. At first, he believed these actions demonstrated love, but over time, something unexpected happened. The harder he tried to hold on, the more distant she became. Every conversation started feeling heavy. Every interaction carried the weight of his fear. And Eve. Naturally, the relationship ended. Heartbroken and confused, he spent months wondering what he had done wrong. Then one day, an older friend shared a lesson that changed everything. He told him that love cannot grow where fear controls every decision. Attraction cannot thrive when one person abandons themselves to keep another close. And confidence is not about convincing someone to stay. Confidence is about knowing you will be okay even if they leave. That lesson transformed him. Instead of focusing on earning affection, he focused on rebuilding his relationship with himself. He rediscovered hobbies he had abandoned. He reconnected with friends. He invested in his health. He learned to enjoy his own company. Slowly, something remarkable happened. The desperation disappeared. The need for constant validation faded. For the first time in years, he felt whole without depending on someone else's approval. And when he eventually entered another relationship, everything felt different. He listened without anxiety. He cared without controlling. He loved without losing himself. The woman he was with noticed it immediately. She felt relaxed around him because his affection came from choice, not need. That is the touch of quiet confidence. It is not always physical. Sometimes it is the emotional energy a person carries into every interaction. Mature women recognize it because they have spent enough years on this earth to understand the difference between confidence and insecurity. They have experienced relationships with people who constantly needed reassurance. They have experienced the exhausting cycle of managing someone else's fears while carrying their own. What they find irresistible is a person who stands firmly in their own worth, a person whose happiness does not depend entirely on the relationship, a person who chooses connection while maintaining a strong sense of self. There is something incredibly attractive about that kind of stability. It creates emotional safety. Why? Because it removes pressure. A woman no longer feels responsible for carrying someone else's self-esteem. Instead, she is free to experience genuine intimacy, genuine attraction, genuine connection. The irony is that many people believe confidence comes from success, appearance, or status. But real confidence often comes from surviving heartbreak and discovering that your value never depended on the person who walked away. It comes from learning that rejection is not proof of unworthiness. It comes from understanding that love is something you share, not something you beg for. Every mature woman has her own history of heartbreak. She remembers the promises that were broken, the people who left, the moments she questioned her own worth because someone failed to see it. That is why confidence speaks so loudly to her heart. It signals emotional maturity. It signals strength without aggression. It signals a person who understands that love should add to life, not become the entire fonda. Tion of it, when a confident man reaches for her hand, there is no desperation in the gesture. There is no hidden demand attached to it. There is simply presence, respect, appreciation. He is not trying to possess her. He is inviting her into his world while honoring hers. And that distinction changes everything. Because the deepest attraction is not created by someone who says they cannot live without you. It is created by someone who has built a meaningful life and still chooses to make room for you in it. That choice feels powerful because it comes from abundance rather than fear. It feels genuine because it is not driven by loneliness. It feels trustworthy because it is rooted in self-respect. And when a mature woman encounters that kind of confidence, she feels it immediately, not as pressure, not as performance, but as a quiet strength that allows her to relax, trust, and move closer. Because at the end of the day, the most magnetic person in any room is not the one demanding attention. Ention. It is the one who knows their worth so completely that they never have to ask anyone else to prove it. What if the moments that change a woman's heart forever are not the ones most people post about, celebrate, or even notice? What if the memories that create the deepest attraction are often the smallest ones? The quiet moments, the ordinary moments, the moments that seem insignificant at the time but somehow remain alive in her heart years later. Most people believe love is built through grand gestures. They imagine dramatic declarations, expensive gifts, and unforgettable surprises. Yet when you ask someone about the moments they cherish most, they rarely talk about those things. Instead, they remember how someone made them feel during a difficult season. They remember who stayed when life became complicated. They remember the reassuring presence that appeared when they needed it most. Because lasting love is not created by intensity. It is created by emotional memories. Ion. She heard a story about a woman who had experienced more heartbreak than anyone around her realized. From the outside, she appeared strong. She smiled. She worked hard. She carried herself with confidence. But deep inside, she had become cautious. Years of disappointment had taught her not to trust easily. She had learned to protect her heart because every time she had opened it fully in the past, it seemed to come back carrying new scars. Then she met someone who never tried to rush her. He did not pressure her to trust him. He did not demand emotional access to places she was not ready to share. Instead, he showed up consistently. One evening, after receiving difficult news about a family member, she found herself overwhelmed by emotions she had been trying to hide all day. She expected to face the pain alone, just as she always had. But when he noticed something was wrong, he did not try to fix her feelings or overwhelm her with advice. He simply sat beside her. He listened. He stayed. At one point, he gently held her hand without saying a word. Years later, she admitted that she barely remembered the details of the conversation. She could not recall every sentence that was spoken, but she remembered exactly how safe she felt in that moment. She remembered the comfort. She remembered the calm. She remembered the feeling of not carrying everything alone. That single memory stayed with her long after countless other moments had faded away. This is the hidden power of emotional memories. They become anchors in the heart. They create attachment not through force, but through meaning. A mature woman has lived long enough to understand that attraction is not just about excitement. Excitement comes and goes. Passion rises and falls. Life changes. Circumstances change. Appearances change. But emotional memories endure. They become part of the story she tells herself about who was there for her when it mattered. Every relationship creates a collection of moments. Some disappear almost immediately. Others remain forever. The moments that stay are usually the ones connected to emotion. A reassuring touch before a difficult conversation. A calm presence during a stressful time. A small act of kindness when she expected to be forgotten. These moments seem ordinary from the outside, yet they carry extraordinary weight inside the human heart. What makes them so powerful is that they communicate something deeper than attraction. They communicate commitment, reliability, emotional safety. They tell her that your presence is not dependent on perfect circumstances, and that realization creates trust. Trust creates connection. Connection creates attachment. Many people spend years searching for ways to make themselves more attractive without understanding this simple truth. Attraction is often strongest when someone consistently contributes to your emotional well-being. When someone becomes associated with feelings of comfort, acceptance, and understanding, their presence begins to feel valuable in ways that are difficult to explain. A mature woman notices who shows up. She notices who remembers. She notices who remains steady when life becomes uncertain. Those observations quietly shape her feelings over time. The beauty of emotional memories is that they cannot be manufactured. They cannot be forced. They are created through authenticity, through genuine care, through repeated moments of connection that slowly build a foundation of trust. Every meaningful interaction becomes another thread in the emotional fabric of the relationship. Over time, those threads become strong enough to support something much deeper than attraction. They support love. The kind of love that survives difficult conversations, the kind of love that survives imperfect days, the kind of love that grows stronger because it is rooted in real experiences rather than temporary excitement. And perhaps that is why mature love feels different from the love we imagine when we were younger. It is not built on fantasy. It is built on memory, on shared moments, on evidence, on a collection of experiences that quietly prove one person has become a source of comfort, strength, and peace in another person's life. Because in the end, a woman may forget the exact words you said. She may forget the details of a particular day. But she will never forget the moments when your presence made her feel stronger, safer, and more valued than she felt before you arrived. And those are the memories that transform attraction into attachment, attachment into trust, and trust into a love that time itself cannot easily erase.